Desirable, warm, affordable homes for life. That's what we all want, isn't it? And those homes, all of them, have to be nearly zero emissions by 2050. That's quite a challenge. And it's a challenge that not just this country faces, but most countries in Europe faces. And the Dutch government addressed this challenge starting back in 2010. They set out to find a way of delivering nearly zero emission houses without government subsidy. And that's what Energiesprong is. It's an approach to delivering that. It means energy leap in Dutch, and our role as Energiesprong UK is to adapt that Dutch approach to the UK market and to build a volume market on which companies can invest in industrialised approaches to reduce costs so that whole house retrofit can fund itself without subsidy. That's our aim. We're publicly funded by EU and local funding, and we're independent, so we're not selling anything. We're a market catalyst organisation looking to make ourselves redundant by getting this job done and set off running on its own without external support. So this photograph is actually about the cars in front of the houses. If you see the car on the left here, compared to modern standards, it's very inefficient, about half as efficient as modern cars. It's not very safe, and it's not very attractive, unless you're a classic car enthusiast, I suppose. But it was also pretty expensive when it was bought. The car on the right is much more efficient, 100% more efficient than the car on the left. It's very safe compared to the car on the left. It's very reliable. You can get a warranty, practically a lifetime warranty on it. If you wanted to buy one, you could get one very cost effectively. Most people don't bother with extended warranties on current cars because they trust the product. It's very efficient, it's very reliable, and it's cheaper than the product was on the left. Now, how did that happen? How did we generate that level of performance improvement in just 40 years? Well, it's because it was built in a factory. And that's what the factory method in industrialisation delivers. It delivers constant improvement. It delivers constant cost reduction as efficiency is improving. And it's all through an industrialised process. And that's what we need to do with our buildings. We need to stop doing on-site approaches where the cost is actually going up year on year and the performance isn't actually going up year on year. It's actually very difficult to deliver whole house retrofit to a high performance standard by just putting one measure after another on a property. And it's impossible to finance it off savings unless you do a whole house approach from the outset. So the house on the left was built in a field. The house on the right was built in a factory. The house on the left is, of course, inside the house on the right. It's had a retrofit where it's been wrapped up by panels made in a factory. It's a transformational product, that house on the right, because it's an old home, but it's actually better than a new home. It performs better. Its energy bill is guaranteed. It's net zero energy. It consumes as much energy in a year as it produces in a year. And its performance is guaranteed. Its cost is guaranteed, and its maintenance cost is guaranteed for 30 years, which unlocks the key of being able to finance that capital expenditure off savings. And that's what Energiesprong is. It's combining off-site approaches and guarantees that enable financing to bring costs down and to enable financing to happen off savings. This is a short video that just gives you some of the key components of how the approach works.
Worldwide, we use use and waste a lot of energy, much of which is used in our homes. At the same time, we pay high energy bills in order to live in houses that are actually often uncomfortable because of humidity, mold and drafts. What can we do about this? The Dutch initiative Energiesprong has come up with an idea. The team at Energiesprong have developed a method to transform existing houses into net zero energy houses. Net zero energy means that the house generates as much energy as it needs for heating, hot water, lights, and household appliances, resulting in a warm and comfortable home. This is made possible by the use of new technologies such as prefabricated facades, new smart heating and cooling installations, and insulated rooftops equipped with solar panels. People don't even have to leave their homes because the transformation is completed within 1 week. After a net zero energy makeover, the house looks bright and modern from the outside and no longer has moisture or drafts inside. This makeover comes with a 30-year warranty on both the energy and indoor climate performance. This all sounds great, but who's going to pay for it? The principle is, the money that you'd normally spend on your energy bills, combined with reduced repairs and maintenance costs, pays for the renovation. So you get a makeover for your house without any additional costs. Hundreds of people in the Netherlands already enjoy more comfortable living conditions following their successful net zero energy makeovers, and new makeovers are taking place every day. To learn more, go to energiesprong.eu.
Okay, so the Dutch have delivered over 10,000 net zero energy properties, a mixture of retrofit and new build, in the last couple of years. And they're going to be delivering another 12,000 this year and an increasing number next year. And we're trying to develop that in the UK here. The volume is key. Building up a volume market gives industry a volume on which they can invest in production lines and they can reduce cost and improve performance. And just to labour the fact of what we really need to do here to achieve zero emission buildings by 2050, we've got to work out how we're going to pay for it, because the taxpayer can't pay for it through grants for 27 million homes. That's just not going to happen. The current way of doing retrofit, costs are actually going up and not coming down. So we have to find a way of reducing costs as well as finding a way of financing those costs. And the bit that gets forgotten a bit sometimes is that we have to do this in a way that people actually love. People want this to happen to their homes, that they're knocking on other people's doors to say, please can I have this done to my home? And that's something that we've forgotten, I think, a little bit with retrofit of housing in the past. You know, energy efficiency on itself, by its own, is not attractive enough to get people to invest. I'm going to show you another short video now of what retrofit whole house delivered through the Energiesprong approach looks like in the Netherlands and how it can look like here as well. This is one company's approach. It doesn't have to look like this. It's a very adaptable approach, but this is one company's approach to delivery in whole house retrofit to a net zero energy performance standard delivered in 1 day on site. So there's a bit of preamble to the video here, but what this company, Volker Vessels, have done, and they're one of 4 framework providers on a large contract in the Netherlands, is that they've measured up the property on site a few weeks before they go on site to deliver. They, in this property, have screwed brackets into the wall off which they hang panels manufactured in a factory. Doesn't have to be a bracket system. If the walls weren't up to it, it could be the panels could be supported by additional foundations. But they've taken all that data back to the factory and they've made panels bespoke for that property in the production line. They include windows and doors. They just take the old windows and doors out. The heat pump is in that box there, that white box. The heat pump, ventilation, inverter for the PV, battery. It's all in one box, very quick and easy to connect to the wet system and the electrical system in the home. The panels just get craned in and plonked on those brackets. Very quick, easy job to connect plumbing and electrics up to the internals. A simple reveal system to link the new external to the old internal, which gives a really nice big deep windowsill that people really like. The existing roof has just had the tiles taken off for load, to reduce load, and a light, insulated, cost-effective roof solution has been put on. Aesthetically it doesn't look great, but that's okay because the final covering is the PV panels front and back. This is the last panels coming in. This is after lunch on the first day. And you can see on these images here how thick the insulation is, up to 400mm. A really fabric first approach. Get the fabric right, the air tightness right, very little input of energy required. The final factory manufactured bits and pieces going on there, the drainage. There was a brick built shed out the back that's been demolished and replaced by this, which is going to be a ground floor wet room to disability living proof this property in time, showing how adaptable the approach is to all sorts of different needs and conditions. And that's what industrialisation can give. It's not necessarily one size fits all, it's an adaptable approach. And that's what it looks like after one day. An old home that's better than a new home, guaranteed energy bills, net zero energy, very nearly zero emissions, all in one day on site, and paid for off energy savings and maintenance savings alone, with no subsidy. And you think of that extrapolated out to the whole terrace and the whole neighbourhood, it delivers regeneration as well. So that was a pilot project, but that company has delivered that solution out to whole terraces. Other companies have delivered similar solutions. This is the pilot, so you can see the before and after next door. A different energy module on the front there, an early generation energy module. This one actually looks like a new build, doesn't it? And it's actually a retrofit. These are other companies that have delivered whole streets, whole neighbourhood approaches. Again, these look like new homes, don't they? It looks like a new build environment. They're all build, but better than new build. Doesn't have to be, you can have any colour you like, it's got to be black. It can look like you can have it in any colour. And in all sorts of different archetypes as well. This is low-rise blocks of flats, bigger flats here, and even going into high-rise. This isn't net zero energy, but it's a lot better than it was before. And the Dutch have got some really exciting high-rise solutions that are getting very close to nearly zero emissions. And this is new build. The model works really well for new build. And we've done it in the UK as well. This is a scheme that was delivered by Nottingham City Homes with their contractor Melius Homes in 10 properties. 7 of them were in this terrace of cross-wall properties and 3 bungalows. They started on site in early November 2017 and they finished before Christmas 2017. And you can see there's quite a transformation in those properties, and you'll be able to spot the right to buy property in there as well, which hasn't been treated. This is a view of the scheme from the other side. Shows the 3 bungalows and the properties there. And again, these properties look great. And actually, they're a lot more valuable as well. There's been a 25% value uplift before and after on those properties. People have got warm homes for the first time for a guaranteed price that they can afford. And the business model works for Nottingham City Homes to the extent that they've rolled out, they've now signed a 155 home contract, and they've committed to a further 500 homes after that, which is helping Melius Homes build a factory in Nottingham to employ local people, to industrialise this and deliver the next scheme at a lower price, and the next one after that at a lower price still. We've also got another 41 properties that are being delivered in the UK this year. These are some properties in Exeter. This is before, and they'll look something like this when they're completed in September. These properties are in Malden in Essex. They're owned by Moat Homes, and they're on site at the moment, and we're taking some people out on Thursday in a bus trip out to Malden. If you want to join us, come and up to our stand on F200 and see us. And this is an example of a factory that's building this. This is a factory owned by Local Homes, which is a subsidiary of a social housing provider in Walsall in the West Midlands. And this is a Dutch production line where they've got bigger volumes. So they've been able to invest in robots in their production lines, which delivers better quality and it delivers a cost reduction as well. And in fact, you don't see that many people in the Dutch Energiesprong factories. A lot of robotisation and automation in there. Better product, lower price, continual improvement. So I'll just quickly try and describe a little bit of detail about how the Energiesprong approach actually work, what different components come together to achieve this transformational product. So first of all, just looking at the energy side of things. The house on the left, if it was a typical UK home, it would consume about 21,500 kilowatt hours of gas and electricity every year, which would be about a £1,400 dual fuel bill. Afterwards, with a fabric first approach, the heating demand has been dramatically reduced down to 2,000 kilowatt hours a year. Appliances with smart, high performing appliances, 2,300 kilowatt hours a year is more than enough for the average home's plug power, and the generation of the PV on the roof is delivering 4,300 kilowatt hours a year, which nets out to a net zero energy retrofit. So how do we get that? Three things. First of all, we have to ask for a new product. Ask for a different product than we're asking for at the moment. We're asking for a design, build and guarantee product off a solution provider. So it's one solution provider that's designing it, building it, with subcontractors probably, and they're guaranteeing performance long term, maintenance performance and energy performance. And that guarantee enables the building owner to finance the solution. The performance specification that you procure against is very high level, like Connor described in Ireland, very similar high level performance. The second element is people need a very easy to understand product for a guaranteed fixed price. So the Energiesprong promise, the comfort plan that the tenant gets, is guaranteed temperature in every room all the year round, 21 degrees C in living space, 18 degrees C in bedrooms. They get more than enough hot water, depending on the size of the household and the property, and they get more than enough energy through the plugs to power their home as well. And the guarantees around air quality means that it feels good and it looks good as well. And the third thing we need to do is the most important thing. We need to create a volume market for this, because if you wanted to go out and buy this in one product or one home or 10 homes, you couldn't buy it effectively. Just as you can't buy a car if there were only 10 cars being made a year. We need a volume industry that can deliver products at an affordable cost. So what we're doing at the moment is building a volume market between landlords and the supply chain with a bit of time-limited government subsidy to get that volume going quickly, to help industry reduce costs. And we've got a commitment from landlords to bring 1,000 homes to the market if the government will back us over a time-limited initial grant programme to help those costs get down to a self-sustaining level. And costs really do come down with volume. In the Dutch experience is that energy module really has delivered cost reduction over installing those different components individually, £25,000 initially. They've got the cost down to £11,000 today by putting it all into one box with a simple plug-in on site in the property and doing that in a factory. And they reckon their generation 3 that sits in the roof space will be delivered at £5,000 pound per property when they've got up to 10,000 a year. And I'll just leave you with this thought here. You know, transformation really does happen. It has happened before, and it will happen again. It's happened without the internet, without digitization. This guy didn't invent the car. He didn't invent the factory process. He didn't invent the franchise dealership network, but he was the first person to sell a car that the ordinary American family could buy. Every year he was in production, the cost came down. That's the sort of transformation that we need in the building industry to deliver nearly zero energy homes.